I'd like to call to order the North Aurora Village Board meeting of Monday, January 6th, the year 2020. We'll open with a silent prayer and meditation. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mayor Berman?
Here.
Trustee Gaffino?
Here.
Trustee Lowry?
Here.
Trustee Curtis? Here. Trustee Carroll?
Here.
And Trustee Gately?
Here.
Okay, roll call. Audience comments. The first we have signed up is Jim Jensen. Is that, oh, that's who.
Good evening, President Berman and Board. No surprise, I would say, I'm here to speak about VeriLife. I've run a law office in North Aurora for, I think, 30 or 31 years, first at 161 South Lincoln Way, and at
Hold on a
149
Can't
South
hear you.
Lincoln Way.
Is that on? It doesn't sound like it is. That's not coming across to me like it
Right at it. Is that better?
Yes.
is. Is it?
I've-
Okay.
I'll start at the beginning. I've run a law office since 1989 in North Aurora at 161 South Lincoln Way at first, and since 2002 at 149 South Lincoln Way. In all those years, I never had occasion or reason to come before this board and complain. This is the first time. From the Aurora Beacon News, September 23, 2019. North Aurora Dispensary could be among the first approved to sell recreational marijuana, but an official with the company that operates the dispensary said the current location isn't equipped to handle recreational sales. That individual is a fellow by the name of Jeremy Ulrich, UNRUH. The dispensary, which operates under the name VeriLife, is in a medical office building just north of Interstate 88, which UNRUH said would not be able to handle an increase in traffic. How right he is, but it didn't stop him from proceeding. It didn't stop you people from approving this mess. You passed your special use permit and put some conditions on it. One would be that the petitioner shall, at its own expense, coordinate parking, traffic control, and security solutions, subject to the direction of the Village Police Department and in cooperation with surrounding property owners. Cooperation, I never heard from these people. I do not know of one property owner that heard from these people. None. Coordination, telling people to park a half mile north of the place and walk back, trespass over my property, that's cooperation, that's coordination, that's ridiculous. All dumpsters located on the subject property shall be enclosed. You have pictures in front of you. They've done a wonderful job of doing nothing, haven't they? Potholes are to be filled. You have pictures of potholes. They haven't filled those two. Too busy counting money? I don't know, but they haven't done what you ordered them to do. The porta potties, I suppose you can look at that one of two ways. I look at it as such a classy look for the property. A high-volume retail business on that street, on that very busy street, with no turn lanes, with no traffic control devices and no parking? I don't understand this at all. How did that get through? And everybody's supposed to park at 56 and 31 and walk back? You know how many sidewalks there are in that distance? I don't know. I think like a couple hundred feet. They're walking in ditches. They're walking on paths. What are they going to do when it snows? What are they going to do once it snows? You ever walked on that street at night? You know how dark that street is? It's not the greatest lit street in the world. Seriously, I don't understand how this thing got through at that location. Did any of you talk to any of the tenants at 161? I know what the answer is. None of you did, because you know what the answer would have been. That parking lot is full as it is. how could you possibly expect that they would be able to park enough cars to control this traffic? Thank you.
Thank you. Ruth Stone, also like to speak on, Vera?
Mr. Mayor, Village President, actually, members of the board. I run a law office at 141 South Lincoln Way. I've been there since 2006. I am a 20-year resident of North Aurora, and New Year's Day, I went to go to my office. There was no place for me to park. There were 7 cars in front of my building, 6 in the back. When these people come along and start and want to park, and you tell them they can't, they look at me and go, "Oh, this is public parking." We called myself and the neighbor to the north. We called the police. Police officer says, "Oh, this is private property. There's nothing I can do." I finally had to call a towing company, but it took three days before that got set up. For 2 days, my assistant and I just sat by the window. Every time somebody tried to pull up, we had to shoo them away. Some of those people you couldn't shoo away. I practice alone. I'm 73 years old. I'm afraid of these people that are coming into my parking lot. I'm not being protected by the police, and I concur with everything that Jim said. I don't know what to do to protect myself. And that's about all I have to say that Jim hasn't already said. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Oakland.
Hello, Council. I've been at 161 South Lincoln Way since 2008. I was one of the first companies in that building since it was taken over by Peter Lappin and the rest of the group. I can say one thing, Peter's a very poor communicator as far as a building owner goes. So a lot of the blame probably goes to him as far as this goes, but being there on a daily basis since this place has opened has just been a nightmare. My secretary doesn't want to go to lunch because she doesn't want to lose her parking spot. There's barely room to get in. UPS can't deliver anything. The police even stopped the UPS guy. "Hey, what are you doing here? Where are you going?" We have to deliver, packages. The other day, the garbage could not get picked up because of all the traffic in that building. The problem is, it's like a rock concert or a new Apple phone. These people are there like at 7 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning for a 9 o'clock opening of that organization. They're parking in spots that don't belong to them, and then we can't get in. By the time the police officers get there, it's already too late. The lot's full. And there's trash in the building now that the owners have said they've gone through to try to pick up the trash. But by our offices, it's there. The building stinks inside. These guys are lined up like a snake inside the building once they're there, and the body odor is just awful. It just carries throughout the building. Again, we tried to talk to them in December to ask them what their game plan was, so we could plan accordingly. And they said, "We don't know." We talked to them before Christmas, what's going to happen, what's going on. We don't know. They could not give us any information. Now, common sense tells you when you watch the news how long these lines are going to be. Where are they going to go? How do they block traffic? They block us from going down the ramp. If a person wants to move in or move out, they're in the back of our yard, of our building, all the way lined up to the walkway back there, the Fox Valley Park District area. So I mean, it's a terrible situation. It's just awful. You get up in the morning, you got to race to work to try to get there. It's crazy. Can't go there on weekends. You go there on weekends. The churches are there, and you can't go there on weekends and work because it's full. Our clients are calling us up. They're driving by. Who wants to get in? You ever go to a restaurant and they say, "Well, the wait's an hour and a half. I'll go somewhere else." That's what's going to happen to our business and for my insurance agency. People want to come in and pay their bills. They can't come in and pay their bills. They want to get in and out of there quickly. Can't do it. Can't do it. It's just an awful situation. It's like, it looks like, you've seen it. I know you know what it's like. It's like going to a Bears game. There's just cars all over the place, and they move slowly. They come in, can't park here, it's full, and they come right back out. It just jams everything up. It's awful. And again, I can't express how poorly the communication's been throughout the whole process. There has been zero communication from the building owner, from VeriLife, from the village. Zero communication. And it's hard to plan. And now what are we doing? Now we have to react to the problem. And it's an awful problem to react to. I don't know how you're going to fix it. Other than shutting them down and getting this thing back to normal. Because when they were there for just their medical marijuana, we didn't even know they were there. Didn't even know. And now this has happened. It's chaos. It's just awful. Please correct it. Thank you.
Thank you. Patty and Ed? Haven't seen you for a while.
Hi, good evening. Hello, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. So, Ed and I are residents. We're not business owners here in the community, and we don't live directly in that area. We just wanted to come here tonight and just share our concerns about this. And I could just tell you from a resident's perspective, boy, you know, I didn't even know that this was happening until I was very grateful for the police alert on Facebook, because at least I knew to not drive in that area this when it first opened, and that I very much appreciated that. But at some point, you know, we had to go through that area, and I was embarrassed. And it was like when I finally did drive through the area, and it was still congested, and I was a little surprised it was open that late. It was Saturday night, and the difference between driving through that area and then turning the corner to get to our house, and we turn right on 56 where we pass Harner's, and the beauty of that area. And I've been meaning to email and say how much I love the Christmas decorations and the snowflakes on the river, and I mean, it's just stunning what you've all done and what the village has done with that area. But like preceding that, I couldn't believe that this was the village that I live in. And I love this village. And I've been trying to read about this, and I don't, all the laws like you do, but I'm hoping that you're gonna make it better or do something different with it, and I really empathize with the business people that I just heard from, because if my livelihood was tied up into this as well, it would be really, really hard. So please take care of this problem however you need to do it. And if we could get some communication about what's going on with this, I think that we're hoping to get that as well. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. It's not that we're working in a vacuum, because we've probably spent a significant amount of time in the last 6 months. I think the board hasn't been privy to every day that what staff is doing, but I have been involved in that from the standpoint of what all our entire staff, including the police chief. And we've reached out to other communities all over the United States who went through the same type of thing. So I think that we all knew there was going to be a problem initially. That was not something that was not unknown. We knew there was going to be a problem. And we felt that we had put the effort into it, and with their life, for a solution to solutions to the problem. So I feel very confident that we did our homework and we did our work along the way. Obviously, it didn't turn out as nice as what we thought it might. I think the biggest thing is that the worst is over. They certainly want to find another location, and we're working with them to come up with it. Have been working with them for another location, because we feel there are better places for it to be served in our community. a lot of the thinking of everyone that has been discussed or shown is that they're not in agreement with the use of marijuana in a recreational area. And I think, we've got people on the board that feel the same way. But I think it was a feeling of the board also, it's law. And as long as it's a law, we need to make sure that if we're gonna have anything to do with it in any way, whether our constituents are going to use it, marijuana recreationally, if they're going to purchase it someplace, then we need to control it. We need to control where it's being sold, when it's being sold, and whatever. So that was our reasoning, basically, of why we approved recreational marijuana sale in North Aurora. And I think that we felt that we've actually did a good job in what we did. Obviously, it's been a few days. I would say it's great to get closed. But I think we feel that it's certainly it's not going to be the same as it is historically in all the other locations, all the other communities in the other states. It has not been the type of, as it has been the last 5 days in North Aurora. So I think we did our homework. I think the staff did an outstanding job of communicating. We certainly communicated greatly with Verla, and I think we felt we had a good understanding of what was going to happen. And that's my feeling. I know maybe the board individually has something else to say, and maybe staff would like to say something. So.
I would like to say I was the lone vote against this, but I will, to give the staff's credit, they've been working on this since the summer. And I know that they posted our village agenda and our village meetings every week when it comes up on Facebook. It's on our website. And I totally empathize with the business owners. But the problem is, nobody came to the meetings to object. Not one person came to this board in, 5, 6 public meetings. They may have come to the planning commission, but they never came and objected to the special use, to the zoning, or anything. So it got passed, and here we are. And it clearly wasn't the way it was hoped it would be, but as far as communication, I do have to defend our staff and our police department for working with what they've been given. I wish that people would have come and object and stated their objections prior to it being passed, but that didn't happen. It passed because this board felt that there wasn't an objection to recreational use of marijuana in the village of North Aurora. Sales. Right.
I would like to say that while I have empathy for the business owners, I think this is something that's going to, trend downward. People look at something, it's new, it's just been legalized, it's a novelty, it's something that there's been a lot of anticipation, and, maybe there are less, maybe we take steps to maybe control traffic, but maybe figuring hours or something. But I do think this is going to be like it was the past week forever. So, I think there needs to be a little bit of patience, there needs to be a little bit of, working with what we have and what we can do, and certainly if that requires, tweaking what we can tweak, or getting some towing services, and posting signs, whatever it may be. I'm not driven by every day for the past week, and I've seen the lines, and I've seen the traffic, and I understand, but I really don't think it's going to be like this forever, and I think we just need to have a little bit of patience to let everyone and our staff and let the buzz all down a bit.
Somebody mentioned the opening of the Sonic drive-in on Kirk Road when they opened up the traffic there, and it was pretty horrendous. And we've had, obviously greater traffic in the village and the historically from the racetrack and rock concerts and other things in the past years. So we've gone through these experiences, but it's impossible to what we want to prevent and what we can.
I would like to share my thoughts on it. Yes, there's a lot of negatives to this, a lot of concerns I'm sure everybody has, including myself, in terms of our safety here in the community. But I want to make sure that everyone knows that the primary reason I think that motivated this board to go ahead with it was the tremendous benefit in terms of revenue for the village, which will keep our own tax base at a more moderate level, we're hoping. When I asked, based on some projected figures, what percentage of the budget it was at one business, according to our financial guy, estimated it to be about 5% a year if those kind of figures are sustained. So that is the reason I think we are looking for revenue to keep our wonderful village here in a progressive, advancing, progressive kind of direction. So keep in mind that, yes, there's a lot of concerns, but the benefit to it is for all the citizens here in North Aurora that we have a potential to increase our revenue and help defray some of the costs of each individual taxpayer. Thank you.
Steve?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So the last few days have been pretty tough. The staff here obviously cares tremendously, so myself and a few of the department heads, the police chief, we've been, since day one, we've been out there on New Year's Day, spent time at the police department. Every single day it's been open since then. I know myself, the chief, community development director have been out there driving past the dispensary at least once a day to see how the lines are going, how they're going down. Our comments with VeriLife have been good for the most part. I mean, they've been responsive. I think what ultimately happened here was prior to their opening, the village was working with them to secure parking in additional spots, as the board is aware. And they looked at two adjacent properties that had a substantial amount of additional parking and didn't find out that those parking lots were going to fall through until late in the game, kind of towards the holiday season. At that point, when you're scrambling and you don't have the two lots that I think they anticipated being able to either lease or have permission to use, they said there were other lots as well, and we're trying to figure out exactly where they've contacted. We've asked them for that information. We expected that they were going to communicate better with the adjacent businesses. It's disheartening to learn that the property owner didn't communicate as well in that building. Obviously, that's something we would have liked. The special use hearing does get notice to the businesses and homes that are within 200 feet of the location. We had a total of 8 public meetings to discuss recreational marijuana in the community, 5 of them at the village board level, 3 of them at the planning commission level. 5 were in the discussion of how to, whether or not to allow it and how to zone it, and the other 3 were regarding the special use specifically. As far as the event itself, I will say this, the police chief has done an amazing job. We've had 3 to 4 officers in every shift that it's been open, stationed out there either on Route 31 or behind the dispensary at where the line is off of the bike path. We've had our volunteers who are doing a wonderful job of CERT, and they're crossing people at Route 31 and Airport Road. We have been constantly in contact with VeriLife. We actually contacted them again today because we don't think they're done. We think that they need to do a better job as well to continue to look at securing off-site parking in the event that this sustains for a longer period of time. We don't know what their immediate intentions are to move. They had stated during the process that they, basically due to the time constraint of the state, that they were going to open here but look at moving to another site further on the west side of town as soon as they thought they were able to. We adapted the best we could during that situation, started working with them to make sure they were promoting maps on their website to get people to the public parking, since we had over 100 spots available within 2 blocks of Route 31. Once again, not ideal, but it's the best we can do at the time to try to get people away from those adjacent businesses. And The staff met with Ruth and Jim last week, had a nice conversation with them, understand the frustration they're going through. They're the adjacent business owners, and they were dealing with a lot of traffic those days. With that being said, it's also, this is one of maybe a couple dozen total dispensaries that are selling recreational marijuana in all the Chicagoland area right now, and the only one that is the nearest dispensaries to us currently are Romeoville and Addison, both of which are at least a half-hour drive away. So we've been inundated with the fact that you're getting a large amount of people from the Tri-City areas and from neighborhood Aurora, probably coming to North Aurora right now. We anticipate that that will die down. We have noticed that over the last few days, the public parking lots have been more full than the opening day, and we are seeing that the private lots aren't having as much people parked there, and a lot of that has to do with the business owners doing a good job of, and I know it's not ideal, but policing their properties, putting signs up. Lots of tow trucks were out there active the second day, pulling cars out. So as of right now, the plan for the village is to continue working with Verilife. We know that there's conditions and there's special uses they still have to adhere to. The garbage, the potholes. I mean, it would be reasonable to assume that this was only approved a few weeks ago. It's the winter months. It's going to take time. They have to have the property owner approve all of those improvements. So that's something that in any special use, we don't expect to be done within the first few days of approval. So as of right now, we will just continue working with them on parking, communicate all the issues we can. Sure as heck going to tell them that we had this meeting tonight and the complaints that we received, and let them know about it, and work with the police chief and Mike to make sure that they're adhering to what they said they would. And we did actually send them a couple lots last week in the industrial area that are 2 blocks away as potential sites for them to look at to secure.
I'd like to add something. When we sat here and discussed this, I guess there was an assumption that Verilife would talk to the residents and then, like I said, take care of the parking lot, even parking. Was it parking part of the special use that they had to find parking?
That they would have worked to try and find out something.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like they're the ones that really dropped the ball. And as far as the landlord, I mean, it would suck to try to work there. I mean, it's, according to the pictures here, the garbage, it's a mess. And but as far as, I think, the village and the staff, I was there New Year's Day with the mayor and the administrator, the police chief, and we were kind of watching it, and it was a mess on New Year's Day. Excuse me, but I have to say that the staff really has been giving it 1,000%. I mean, from the first day to the second day, there was some major improvements, and then so on and so forth. Friday was better, and Saturday and so on. But I guess kind of like everybody else out here, I think there's some tweaking and some improvement. I think we need to hold their feet to the fire as far as they have to find parking. It's their business, it's not ours. And as far as the potholes and the garbage, I mean, they need to figure that out, how to get, and they also need to figure out how to get the tenants in there that work there. And I mean, I guess that was all assumptions that was out of our, thoughts, I guess, is how they're going to handle that. I mean, we knew it would be busy, but we didn't know that there would be no parking except for the medical and a few spaces for the employees. So, except kind of uncharted water for us as well, and things that we just assumed that would happen. But we certainly love our town as well and want to see the best, come of this. So we'll continue to work on it.
And we appreciate the feedback because it was brought to our attention Friday that they were shooing people out of the office parking lot for recreational use, and we verified it on their website, and we called them out on it immediately. And the chief sent an email to them and said, hey, you told us that you were going to allow recreational use in the back parking lot. And by the next day we had heard that they were advertising that they had limited parking in the back. So
if I could just touch on a few things real quick. First of all, I just have to, look out my office window and I can see all the traffic and everything. My parking lot was filled to almost over capacity, but the capacity every single day. So, granted, I have a public parking lot. I have about 45 spaces, but they were even parking. Somebody got issued tickets even because they were parked in the 30-minute only parking for 2 or 3 hours. So we had our issues as well. As far as private parking, or parking on private property, the police department can't enforce that because it is private property. I can't just go and have a vehicle towed or ticketed or anything like that. My recommendation to anybody that has a business that's considered private property is to always get a contract with a village-approved tow company, and they will hang a sign somewhere where people can see it. And after 24 hours of that sign being up there, if somebody's on your property that is not using it for your business, you can tow them out of there. And let me tell you something, nothing gets people to move their vehicles more than when a tow truck shows up, because I witnessed it right next door to us. As soon as a tow truck showed up, people were literally getting out of line and running to move their cars. So that's the biggest tip that I can give anybody that has a business that owns private property. As far as the UPS truck getting stopped, I have no idea why he got stopped or anything like that, so I don't know. Yeah, well, I'm sure he was, and just, even if he wasn't stopped by the police for whatever reason, just trying to pull in there would have been a nightmare. I totally understand. Like I said, I just gotta look out the window and I can see the problems that it caused. And then lastly, last year, when this was all brought up, I talked to a police chief in Wareham, Massachusetts, where Verilife Pharmacan opened up the same exact thing, adult use dispensary. He said that he was told they would come by the thousands, and they did. They had to do off-site parking and literally bus people in. Their spot is, and it sounds like it's in a bad spot anyway, it's in a downtown area where there's literally, he said, 7 or 8 parking spots. He had 7 officers hired back the first week on a detail, just like we had 3 and 4 officers. He said after about the first week and a half, he went down to just a couple officers, which tells me that after that initial thrill, or whatever you want to call it, it wears off, that it dies down. And if he can go from 7 down to just a couple and have it in a great, not a great location where there's just a handful of parking spots, that tells me that this is going to die down. And like Steve alluded to, there will be more dispensaries opening up. Aurora's got like 5 of them, I think, 5 licenses. Because we're getting people from points west and north, everywhere, because we're the only show in town, basically. But I really do believe it'll die down. I'm curious to see what this week will bring, because life kind of is getting back to normal this week. People going back to work, older college students going back to school and stuff like that. So I preach patience with this. I feel for you, I really do. But I do think at a certain point in the very near future, it will return to normal.
Did Verilife ask you to get there earlier in the morning?
No, they don't.
So I had a meeting with Verilife, a police officer, the VA, and myself, and we went over the parking, and the problem is, when we get there in the morning, it's already full.
Oh, yeah.
And the police said, look, we're contracted for 9 o'clock a.m., we're gonna get here 9 o'clock a.m., but that's not soon.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I think there's some misconception about what the police are there for. We're not there to monitor his lot or really any other parking lots. We're there for traffic concerns, traffic issues, anybody breaking the law. Those extra officers are there because I don't want to have to pull my regular patrol officers, because we have a responsibility to the community as well. So they're there for that. We aren't working, we're not their security. We don't work, they have security inside and outside. So we're not there for that. We're basically to monitor things off the property unless there's a disturbance or some crime being committed. Of course, we will respond for that. They are supposed to have parking people that would monitor that. So if they don't want people in the lot any earlier than what they're getting there, then it's my opinion that Verilife should have parking people out there monitoring that, and not the police.
I agree, and they don't communicate with us. We had that meeting, and again, it's been, and mark the 30 or their spots. Put them on the perimeter so we know it's them.
Right.
Because if they're in the middle and all over taking up spots, how do you know who's who? And then you don't know when their spots are available and when their spots aren't.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with you.
Well, we can certainly have meetings again with them and discuss, discussions from tonight. We'll see what comes from that. Any other comments from the board? Comments from staff? I thank you very much for coming, and, you know, it's been handled in a very decent and very professional way, and I really appreciate that. We know it's a problem, has been a problem, but obviously I hope it's gonna. All right, moving on. Any trustee comments? Consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Roll call roll, please.
Mrs. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Vino?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis? Yes. Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Gately?
Yes.
I hate to say this, but we've never had this before. There's no new business. I have no old business. I have nothing to say other than Happy New Year. Any committee reports? Trustee comments? Administrative report?
No, my report was going to be an update on the dispensary, so.
Mr. Attorney? Village reports, finance, Mr. Han?
No report.
Community development?
No
Mr.
report.
Toth?
No report.
Police, Chief Fisher?
No report, sir.
And Public Works, Mr. Westkowski.
No report.
We do not have an executive session. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Committee of the whole will start